Please like this video. It will really help this story reach as many people as possible. Thank you so much for your support. Snow was falling thick that February night in Milwaukee, the kind that makes the whole neighborhood look like somebody threw a blanket over everything. I shook the ice off my coat in the mudroom, kicked the door shut with my work boot, and stopped dead. There on my couch, under Michelle's quilted throw, sat my ex-wife, Nicole. She'd been gone 3 years, cleaned out half our joint savings, packed her Honda like she was fleeing a crime scene, and changed her number faster than you change a blown fuse. But there she was, legs tucked up, TV remote in her hand, like she'd just paused her show. She smiled without moving her eyes. "Miss me, honey?" "No." I hung the coat, tossed my keys in the bowl by the door, and looked straight at her. "Leave. I'm waiting for my wife." She stretched, letting the blanket slip like it belonged to her. The quilted pattern is rustic. "You always liked things practical." I stepped to my tool cabinet, slid the framed photo of Michelle and me back a half inch, and didn't blink. "Door's behind you. You don't seem curious how I got in." She patted the cushion. "Same garage lock, same spare key, same garret, not the same rules." That's when it hit me. 3 years of peace, 3 years of building something stable with Michelle, and Nicole thought she could just waltz back in like nothing had changed. Like I was still the same guy who'd bend over backwards to avoid conflict, who'd rather fix a problem than fight about it. She got up and drifted to our photo, tilted her head. "She looks sturdy. Does she cook, or is it all frozen dinners and pill reminders?" The comment about pill reminders stung because Nicole knew Michelle had helped her elderly mother manage medications before she passed. It was Nicole's way of reminding me she knew details about my new life, had been watching, calculating. "You're done." I took the remote and set it on the TV stand. "This is my home. You're trespassing. Walk before I call someone to walk you." She laughed too loud for a small room. "You're serious. After 25 years, you won't even talk 10 minutes. I'm not a bench you circle back to when your show gets boring." I opened the door and held it. The cold air rushed in, carrying flakes that melted the second they hit the warm floor. "Last chance, Nicole." Her eyes flickered, taking inventory. My framed journeyman certificate on the wall, tool bag by the hall, Michelle's plants lined up on the windowsill like little green soldiers. She was cataloging what had changed, what she could use, what buttons she could still push. She tried one more time. "You always were dramatic." Clock's ticking. She slid past me, perfume thin and familiar, paused at the threshold. "Tell your wife I kept the couch warm for her." I waited until her Camry disappeared into the snow, taillights bleeding red through the flakes. Then I locked up, checked the windows, and set my phone on the counter. If I'd known where this was headed, I would have bought stock in deadbolts and security cameras. But that's the thing about being 59 and having been through one bad marriage. You learn to think in systems. You don't just react, you plan. You don't just feel, you execute. I didn't wait until next week. I didn't wait until tomorrow afternoon. I called a locksmith at 7 a.m. and by 9, every cylinder in that house, plus the garage and the storage shed out back, was new. The old key Nicole had kept like a souvenir was now scrap metal. The locksmith, a young guy named Pete with calloused hands and a Milwaukee Tools jacket, whistled when I told him what I needed. "Full house, Riki? That's a Tuesday morning project." "Ex-wife problems," I said simply. He nodded like he'd heard it before. "Say no more. I'll throw in the deadbolts for free. Nobody should have to worry about uninvited guests." I texted Michelle a photo of the fresh brass and a simple line, "All locks replaced. We're good." Michelle's reply came fast. "That's my fix-it, man. You okay?" "Yes, not up for a round two." We met in the kitchen before her shift at the clinic. She was bundled in scrubs, hair up, coffee mug at her lips. Michelle is steady in a way that comes from seeing people at their worst and still believing in their capacity to heal. She likes checklists and Sunday walks around the lake, and she doesn't dramatize a weather report, let alone a marriage. "She really came in here?" she asked. "Let herself in, used the old garage key." I poured coffee, slid her the first cup. "Commented on your throw like she bought it." Michelle set down the mug. The steam rose between us like a curtain. "You want me to stay home today?" "I want you to go live your day." I took out a trash bag and with a pair of kitchen tongs picked up the blanket and the remote. "I'll wash these. It's not about germs, it's about pushing back." Michelle watched me tie the bag. Her expression was thoughtful, not worried. That's the difference between Michelle and Nicole. Michelle trusts me to handle things. Nicole always assumed I couldn't. That was the first and last time, she said. First, sure, I said. Last is up to me. She walked over, touched my arm. I trust you. I know. I kissed the top of her head. Go. I'll be fine. The property management company stopped by to note the key changes. I signed a form and kept a copy. Paper trails matter when you're 59 and protecting what's left. When I left for the hardware store, I took a different route on purpose. Not because I was scared. I just wasn't going to be predictable for someone who'd proven she liked exploiting patterns. During our marriage, Nicole had this way of showing up wherever I went. The diner where I grabbed lunch, the auto parts store on Saturdays, the tavern where I'd meet Logan after work. She called it coincidence. I called it surveillance. 3 days later, the envelope appeared like a bad joke. County letterhead. Heavy paper. Michelle handed it to me after work, her scrubs traded for jeans and a sweater that made her look like she belonged in a magazine about normal, happy people. Official, she said. Everything official is either taxes or someone deciding they're owed. I slid it open with my thumb and read. It was a claim. Nicole. Property. Share of personal items. Alleged contributions to household improvements. The whole thing written as if our divorce decree 3 years ago was a suggestion, not a decision. She was claiming half the value of the house I'd bought after the divorce, saying she'd contributed to the down payment through joint savings. Michelle leaned against the counter, studying my face. What does that mean? It means she wants a negotiation. She's betting I'll throw money at it to make it go away. I put the letter down. She didn't come back for nostalgia. She came to test the door and my pension account. The pension angle was what really got me. After 30 years of crawling through basements and attics, dealing with electrical systems that could kill you if you made one wrong move, I'd built something. Not a fortune, but enough. Enough to retire early, enough to take care of Michelle, enough to not worry about every dollar. You could let Travis handle it, Michelle said. You don't need to speak to her. That's the plan. I took a photo of the letter, sent it to Travis Mitchell, the family attorney who'd handled my divorce when Nicole ghosted the proceedings. Travis was a neighborhood guy, went to high school with my younger brother, had an office above the pizza place on Capitol Drive. Then I called him. Garrett, he said, voice brisk. I see the PDF. Same petitioner. This is an attempt to reopen a closed file. Can she? Not on those facts, he said. She didn't appear. Decree stands. We'll file a response reminding the court it's settled. You might have to show up once. Keep all communications through me. No side conversations. Understood. What changed? He asked. She used an old garage key to walk into my living room, I said. That's what changed. He exhaled a dry little laugh. We'll put that in a footnote. At the hardware store, I was sorting electrical supplies when Logan rolled over on his chair. Logan is the retired firefighter who orders pizza every Thursday and pretends it's health food because there's vegetables on it. He's got that easy way about him that comes from 25 years of showing up to people's worst days and still finding reasons to laugh. You look like someone rerouted your weekend, he said. Someone tried, I answered, flipping off my work light. Nicole appeared, then filed a claim, Logan whistled. Ghost of projects past. You good? Fine. Fine like a normal person or fine like you with a mountain on your back? Fine, like I changed every lock on earth. I picked up the wire strippers and checked the gauge. And I'm not negotiating my retirement security. He nodded. You ever think you pick women like you pick circuit breakers? They work beautifully in the test panel, then you realize they were never meant for permanent installation. I gave him a look. I'm married to a permanent-grade human. He grinned. Keep it that way. The hearing landed on a Tuesday morning. Small courtroom, low ceiling, judge who looked like he'd seen every stunt twice. Judge Anderson, according to the nameplate, probably dealt with 10 cases like this before lunch. I wore the same navy jacket I'd worn when I signed the house papers because I like a little symmetry. Nicole sat at the petitioner's table. Her hair was straighter than I remembered, makeup heavier, eyes quick. She didn't look at me when I walked in. She looked at the clerk, at the bench, at the space where a camera might be if this was a show. Travis took a seat beside me, slid a copy of the decree my way. Short and clean, he murmured. When our case was called, Travis stood. Your Honor, the prior dissolution was final due to repeated non-appearance. We asked the court to maintain the status of property as previously ordered. Nicole tried to speak, and the judge raised a hand. Ma'am, you'll have your turn. She did speak eventually. It was a cascade of I contributed and I was misled and I didn't have a chance to be heard. She talked about the years she'd worked at the bank while I was building my career, about the joint account she'd helped fund, about improvements to the house we'd shared. What she didn't mention was emptying that same joint account before filing for divorce. What she didn't mention was the 3 court dates she'd skipped. What she didn't mention was changing her phone number and address without telling anyone, including her own attorney. Travis kept his hands folded and waited. Judge Anderson looked over his glasses. Ms. Davis, you were noticed. You did not appear. The decree is final. The respondent retains the property as signed. We're done here. Nicole blinked. You can't just... Ma'am, the judge said, not loud, not soft. We're done. She glanced around as if there was a trap door she'd missed. When the bailiff approached to usher her out, she jerked her arm away, then surrendered it, muttering. She still didn't look at me. In the hallway, she stood by the water fountain pretending to read a poster. Travis shook my hand. That's that. Good, I said. Expect noise, he added. You already managed the locks. Keep documenting. I nodded and headed for the elevator. Nicole stepped into my path, eyes shiny. So that's it, she said. You get to keep everything. Everything I was assigned, I answered. She dropped her gaze, softened her voice the way she used to before asking for something big. I'm in a hole, Garrett. I'm not pretending. My car's about to be repossessed. I can't get into my apartment. I made mistakes, but I'm still... She caught herself. I just need a couch for a week. 10 days. I'll be invisible. It was the same script she'd used for 25 years. The voice that went soft and small. The eyes that promised she'd disappear if I'd just help this once. But I knew better now. Nicole didn't disappear. She embedded. No, I said. You won't even talk to me like a human. She touched her chest. I'm not your enemy. You showed up in my living room uninvited. Then you tried a back door through a court you already left. I pressed the elevator button. You're not my anything. She swallowed. This is who you are now. This is who I am when people confuse me with Social Security. Her lips tightened. You always had a way of making me feel small. You're doing that to yourself. The elevator chimed. I stepped in. She didn't follow. Her eyes were calculating even through the glass of tears. I knew that look. It wasn't grief. It was inventory. Let me pause the story for just a second. If you're still listening, please hit the like button on this video. It really helps YouTube show this story to more people. Thank you so much for the support. Now let's get back to the story. That night, snow again, of course. But it was quiet snow this time, the kind that falls without wind and makes everything look peaceful. Michelle was in the kitchen making her grandmother's soup recipe, the one that takes 4 hours and fills the whole house with the smell of home. How was court? She asked, not looking up from the pot. Short, I said. Travis called it. She tried to reopen the divorce. Judge said no. Good. She tasted the broth, added pepper. She give you any trouble after? She asked for a couch. Michelle's spoon stopped moving. Here? Anywhere. Said she was homeless. I sat down at the kitchen table, the one Michelle had picked out because it was solid oak and would last forever. I said no. How'd she take it? Like someone who'd already moved on to Plan B. 2 evenings later, we met friends at a pub on Brady Street. The place was cramped and loud in a way that says it's popular on purpose, with brick walls covered in old brewery signs and a crowd that looked like they all worked with their hands for a living. Michelle wore a blue sweater that made her look like she had professional lighting. Our friends, Janet, who teaches at the elementary school, and her husband Paul, who works construction and tells jokes in a slow drawl, were already there waiting for us. 2 lovebirds, Paul said, half standing to clap me on the shoulder. Thought you'd bail, Garrett? On beer? Never, I said. We ordered appetizers, caught up on Paul's latest roofing project and Janet's classroom stories. The room hummed with the comfortable noise of people who'd worked hard all week and earned their Friday night. I was starting to let my shoulders drop when a server approached with a bottle. Not our server, another. She looked nervous. Someone sent this over, she said, setting down a bottle of wine I recognized. Red wine, Nicole's brand. Said, "Congratulations," the server added. "On what?" Janet asked. The server shifted uncomfortably. "Being able to forgive," she said, then tried to vanish. I turned. Nicole stood near the bar, hair perfect, a glass in her hand. She raised it like we were across a wedding lawn, like this was some kind of celebration. Michelle's jaw set. Janet whispered, "Is that?" "Yes," I said. I stood. "Stay here." I walked over and kept it tight. "You're done." She tilted her head, smiling like a hostess. "Relax, I'm making a gesture. You like gestures." "You stalked us to a restaurant." "Milwaukee isn't big," she said. "Plus your new wife posts dinner photos like a menu planner. I guessed Friday night, Brady Street. Wasn't hard." The comment about Michelle's social media made my skin crawl. Nicole had been watching us, studying our patterns, learning our routine. It was exactly what I'd been afraid of. "Look at me." I took a breath through my nose. "Leave." She glanced past me, eyes landing on Michelle. She's pretty in a practical way. I see the appeal. Probably never asks for anything complicated. "Don't talk about her." 3,500, she said, voice suddenly louder. People at nearby tables started to notice. 3,500 is what my life is worth to you. "Turn it down," I told her. She took her glass and, like a magic trick done mean, stumbled 2 steps and accidentally sloshed a wave of red straight onto Michelle's sweater. The table went silent. Red dripped down blue. Michelle didn't scream. She stood, dabbed at the fabric with her napkin, and kept her face blank. Janet gasped. Paul's chair scraped. I stepped between them. "We're leaving," I said to Michelle. I put cash on the table, more than needed, because I wasn't going to have a conversation about a bill while my wife wore someone's statement on her clothes. 3,500 is a tip now. "Enjoy the room for as long as it tolerates you," I said, and walked Michelle out with my hand at the small of her back. I didn't look back. On the sidewalk, Michelle breathed evenly, angry and composed, which is more threatening than a shout. "I'll get it out," she said. "It's just a sweater." "Not the point," I said. "You okay?" "I'm fine," she answered. "But I hate games." "Me too," I said. "So I'm going to end it." The next morning I sat in Travis Mitchell's office, a 9th-floor box with certificates and a window that grabbed the river. He listened, hands steepled, while I told him about the restaurant. "She did it at your table?" he asked. "And my wife," I said, "in a room with 40 witnesses, one of whom recorded everything because that's the age we live in." Travis nodded. "Good. Witnesses help. We'll draft for a protective order. No contact, no approach. I'll need statements from Paul and Janet and the manager from the pub if he'll sign." He typed while he spoke. Efficient like a machinist. "This is exactly why you don't give second access. They think kindness is a lever. I gave cash to avoid exactly this." "It won't happen again," he said. "Once she's served. If she tries anything, call. Do not engage. Do not warn." "I don't warn twice." He filed the papers. By that evening, a process server knocked on a door that wasn't mine. Nicole accepted the envelope with the look of someone tasting sour fruit. She texted Travis's office from a new number that she respected the boundaries and would move on. It read like an apology typed with one eye on a future workaround. Michelle and I had a quiet week. We cooked at home. I repaired a wobbly dining chair because it felt good to make something stable with my hands. Michelle worked her shifts at the clinic, came home with stories about difficult patients who reminded her why she loved the easy ones. Logan stopped by my workshop and raised his eyebrows in question. I gave him a thumbs up. "You win?" he asked. I stopped playing. "Better," he said. 2 days later, I got a voicemail I didn't listen to. The transcript showed enough. "Please talk to me. I'll be gone after this. I have news you need." I forwarded it to Travis and deleted it. That was the first illusion of change. Warm tone after a consequence. I didn't bite. Michelle saw me arch an eyebrow at my phone. "Problem?" "Not for me," I said. Late that Friday, at 10:30, a knock. I muted the TV and walked to the door. Chain on. Always chain. Nicole stood there again, hair damp from the humidity, eyes rimmed with smudged makeup that might have been from crying or might have been applied that way. "Don't hang up," she said, as if we were on a call. "Just talk to me. 10 minutes. "You're restricted from being here," I replied. "I know," she said. I know. I panicked. I won't come in. Just listen, please. Michelle came into the hall, watched silently. She was wearing her reading glasses and holding a book about garden design, planning for spring already. I kept the chain in place, didn't raise my voice. This isn't theater, I told Nicole. This is a legal boundary. You gave me money, she said, tears starting their practice track. That means, I mattered. You can't go cold like I'm garbage. I gave you money because I don't barter my peace, I said. 10 minutes, she begged, pressing her palm flat against the door as if that would melt the wood. I need you to hear one thing. That's it. I'll go. I'm not your last option. You are, she said, eyes flaring like she thought she'd found the magic word. See, that's the truth. I don't have anyone else. That's not my job anymore, I told her. She slid down a fraction, not a collapse, just a calculated fold. You used to understand me. You used to rescue me. I used to be married to you, I answered. We closed that file. Please, she whispered. Don't call anyone. Just don't call. I took my phone out of my pocket. Nicole saw the move and shook her head small, pleading. Don't, she said. Garrett? I tapped 3 digits and put the phone on speaker because I wanted the room to hear what side I was on. The dispatcher answered with a calm voice and a script I was grateful someone had memorized. This is Garrett Wilson, I said. A woman under a restraining order is at my door and refusing to leave. Nicole's face changed. Shock, then anger, then something empty. She backed up half a step, palms up. You don't have to... This is me not negotiating, I said. The dispatcher asked me to confirm the address. I did. Michelle put her hand on my forearm once. Support, not a question. Nicole stood there trembling like she thought shaking would make me pull the door open out of pity. I didn't. Sir, officers are on the way, the dispatcher said. Thank you, I replied. I ended the call, set the phone on the console table, and waited. Nicole tried one more play. You're actually going to let them... What if I lose my job over this? You chose this. This is cruelty, she said. No, I said. This is a consequence. When the knock came, louder and authoritative, I unhooked the chain and opened the door a foot. Evening, an officer said, hand near his belt, but not on it. We got a call. I gestured with my chin. She's violating a protective order. Nicole's voice went high. It's not like that. I just needed to talk and he... Ma'am, the officer cut in. Do you have ID? She fumbled for a wallet. The second officer glanced at me. You okay, sir? I'm good, I said. She needs to leave. The first officer read something off his tablet, then looked at Nicole. You've been served with an order. You can't be here. You're coming with us. Nicole stared at me like she still believed I might switch roles and apologize. She waited for my face to soften. It didn't. The officers guided her down the hall. The elevator doors closed on her last look of disbelief, like she'd never expected the curtain to drop. I shut the door, locked it, and listened to the silence that follows decision. Michelle let out a long breath and leaned her shoulder into mine. You okay? She asked. Better than okay, I said. I'm done. She nodded. Good. I didn't sleep much, not because I was rattled, because my brain finally had space to do planning instead of firefighting. I sent Travis a message the next morning summarizing the event, date, and time stamped. By noon, he replied that the report was logged and the order stood reinforced. That was it. Not drama, just systems working how they're supposed to when you respect them. The next week, I did 3 things that had been on my list for a year. I met with a realtor, and we found a small place just west of the city. 1 story, a garage big enough for my workshop, a yard where Michelle could plant whatever she wanted. I added cameras and a doorbell that records, not because I live scared, but because building strong doors is cheaper than living with weak ones. I took Michelle out to the lake the first Saturday morning. We had new keys to a new place. We did our loop without talking much, the way couples who trust each other walk comfortably with a shared pace. After, we ate breakfast burritos on the tailgate of my old truck while the sun burned through the morning haze. You seem lighter, Michelle said. I cut a rope, I answered. Turns out it wasn't attached to anything except my patience. She smiled. You handled it the only way it could be handled. Thanks for not asking me to be softer, I said. I know who I married, she said, and softness didn't fix her. Boundaries did. At the hardware store, I shifted my hours a bit. Came in earlier, left earlier, new routine. Logan spotted the difference immediately. Look at you, he said, rolling to my workstation. You look like a man who stopped subsidizing chaos. I stopped giving out coupons, I said. Your wife's sweater get cleaned? He asked. Yeah, I said, and smiled. Blue again. We toasted with paper cups of break room coffee like idiots, and I didn't care. It felt like normal. I heard about Nicole 2 months later. Not from her, not from her friends, from a property manager who called Travis to ask for a character reference. She'd put his number down on a rental application as if he'd vouch for her. He didn't. He wasn't rude. He's a professional. He said precisely what was accurate. She had a protective order against contacting me. She wasn't placed. That's not vengeance. That's cause and effect. I also heard she'd lost the banking job after the arrest made its way back to her supervisor. Apparently showing up drunk at court proceedings and getting hauled away in handcuffs doesn't align with their corporate image. Again, not my doing. Just consequences following actions like water following gravity. We moved into our new place on a Tuesday because weekdays are cheaper for movers and less crowded in elevators. Michelle picked out a sturdy table. I put it together without instructions because that's one of my few party tricks. We hosted friends. Janet brought deviled eggs. Paul brought a cooler and told the same joke 3 times, and we laughed harder each time because living well is repetition that feels safe. One night on the back patio, my neighbor Angela, mid-40s, tough as boot leather with a gardener's tan, leaned on the fence and nodded at my grill. You're the new guy who doesn't waste words, she said. I like that. Words are expensive, I said. Not if you pick the cheap ones, she replied and smirked. You and your wife seem solid. We are. Good, she said. This cul-de-sac needs more of that. Michelle and I took a weekend trip out to Door County once things calmed down. We rode with the windows down. No playlist, just road noise. She put her feet on the dashboard and read something about gardens. I sketched a few design plans for the workshop in my notebook. It looked suspiciously like a new life. Quiet, deliberate, not tentative. Sometimes I think about the night Nicole pressed her palm to my door, like she could push through it with emotion. It doesn't fill me with satisfaction. It fills me with clarity. You teach people how to treat you. If you teach them your turnstile spins both ways, they'll walk through every time. If you teach them you have a door with a lock and a spine behind it, they either knock with respect or find another building. The last time Nicole's name came up in conversation, Michelle asked if I had any regrets. We were washing dishes. Easy rhythm. Regrets? I said. I regret taking so long to admit what was true. Kindness isn't a blank check. It has a limit. I'm allowed to put a cap on it. Michelle handed me a plate. You did. She dried her hands and turned to me. What was the line for you? The exact moment you drew it permanent. The night with the chain, I said. Not when I paid. Not when I walked out of the pub. The moment I called 911 without arguing about it. I didn't choose anger. I chose enforcement. She nodded. That's the difference. People like to talk about closure like it's a candle you blow out. I don't buy that. Closure is bolts tightened on a hinge. It's a file labeled and put away. It's the numbness of sameness in a good way. Same breakfast, same walk, same warm person asleep next to you who doesn't zigzag the rules because chaos is fun. I didn't win anything. I didn't prove a point to a jury. I didn't get some cinematic apology. What I got was my life back at the price of a check and a few stern sentences. Worth it. Last week, Michelle texted me a photo from the nursery of a plant she wanted. Too much? She wrote. Get 2, I texted back. I'll build shelves. That's the ending. Not loud, durable. And if you're waiting for the part where I open the door one more time because I have a soft heart and the weather is bad, wrong story. I answered the last knock I'm ever going to answer from that chapter. I answered it with 3 numbers and a boundary that didn't blink. If Nicole ever shows up again, it won't be at my home. It won't be in my schedule. It won't be in my head. She lost access, which is the thing she wanted most. Control, comfort, and audience. She traded all of it for a final attempt to win a game that ended without her. I didn't slam the door. I closed it and locked it. Then I walked to my kitchen, turned off the light, and went to bed next to the woman who understands that respect isn't negotiated in hallways at midnight. It's set at the threshold and kept. That's not revenge, that's discipline, and it's permanent. Here's what 59 years teaches you that 25 doesn't. Some people mistake your capacity for kindness as an invitation to take advantage. The moment you realize this, you have a choice. Keep being a doormat or become a door with a deadbolt. At 59, with retirement security to protect and a good woman to cherish, there's only one smart choice. You protect what matters and let the rest sort itself out. Our story has come to an end. If you've made it this far, how about subscribing to our channel? It helps us immensely. I've selected 2 other videos for you that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Feel free to click on them. I'll be waiting for you in the next story. See you soon.